Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something. Something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Reading is an important key to student success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Take your young reader to the library, get some great books, sit down and read together, and help your more advanced readers find books they'll enjoy on their own. Also know that most public libraries let you borrow ebooks that can be downloaded to your smartphones, tablets, or laptops.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show. Sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Creekat, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Lloyds in Lincoln with former Syracuse Orange and Long Beach State basketball star Ramel Lloyd Sr. and current Nebraska basketball athlete Ramel Lloyd Jr. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Ramel Sr. and Ramel Jr. Brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Arns, running the ones and twos as we get our cameras situated here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and talk about who we're going to have on here in a little bit as I get these cameras set up so you're not off shot here.
Oh, for sure. Shout out Canopy. Go get all your goods from Canopy. Take care of us all the time. Good morning. Happy to be here today. Got a special guest coming on. You know, I'm always a little bit excited when we get a special guest to come in. You know, the show is about Lloyds in Lincoln, kind of bringing our world here in Lincoln, and our world obviously has a lot to do with basketball and, you know, people we know worldwide, New York, LA, you know, NBA people, college people. So we got a special guest today. I'm going to let him kind of talk about, you know, who he is, where he's from, and what he's done. He's a really good friend of mine. He's an exceptional basketball mind, basketball trainer. He's been around and trained, helped develop, not only train. You know, a lot of these guys say they're NBA trainers, but they get guys when they get ready to they're like in college, get ready to go to the league, or they're superstars, and they say, hey, I'm an NBA trainer. Well, sure, I could train them by then, you know, by the time they're in the league already. This guy is about development. All of his guys are not NBA guys. He'll train anybody, which I do love about that. You know, he's just a lover of the game and passing on valuable information to all levels. And, you know, out of that crew of people that he's developed over his time, some of them has become some of the best players in the history of the game.
Absolutely. And I think right there, that's a good spot to go ahead and bring him in. We'll plug him in. We got Clint Parks. He's trained a handful of players, kind of going down through the list, though. A big one a lot of people are going to recognize. It's going to be Kawhi Leonard. But Clint Parks, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's been a long time since I've seen Rock and Ramel, so it's good to be on today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, welcome, Clint. We appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. We know you're a busy man these days, and seeing you on your journey, you know, always happy and proud to see a good brother doing his thing and living life to the fullest. So thanks for giving us this time this morning. today it's a good day here in Lincoln. We got another win yesterday. Our Huskers football. So
31-14, let's go.
Yeah, well, every time the Huskers win is a good day here in Lincoln. I woke up today. There's some snow on my car, so that means basketball season is here. We got the exhibition game today, first game today against Doane over at PBA. So just super excited. Clint's on at the perfect time to kind of kick off our basketball season here in Lincoln. So I want to give because this conversation we only have an hour on the show. And by the way, my co-host Ramel Jr. I guess they having pregame and
because they got Doane today. What time does that tip off?
Yeah, game's at 5. But usually here, if the game's at 5, that means they got something to do from 8 a.m. all the way to 5. So I don't know. He said he's going to try to pull up at some point. But anyway, Clint, I wanted to give you the mic, and I want you to tell these viewers, because they, people here don't always get a chance to have these kind of deep basketball connections and stories and things of that nature. So I want you to give them a little bit about who you are, where you came from, where you started, and kind of what you do and who you work with over the years.
Oh man, thank you. Well, my journey started in training in 2006, the year I graduated high school, actually, and I graduated high school in Hawaii. I went to a football school that actually the same high school as a Nebraska Cornhusker football legend, Tunio Fonoti, went to, famous offensive lineman from Nebraska. He's in the Nebraska Hall of Fame. And it's a football school, but I first 16 years of my life, I grew up in Riverside, California, in the Inland Empire, and then I moved to Hawaii my sophomore year. So that's kind of like a little bit about me, the beginning. And then as far as basketball, I started an AAU program in 2006, and one of the very first players that we had a part of our first team was Kawhi Leonard, and so that's kind of that was my introduction to the AAU world as a coach and as a trainer, and just trying to build. And it's kind of just taken off and build like a life of its own over the years, from Kawhi to Tony to Kyle Kuzma to Jamal Franklin, former San Diego State player, the McDaniels brothers, and then worked very closely with I know he's a rival down the street for you guys, but former Creighton Blue Jay Cole Huff, who's a Campbell Hall kid in the Valley. So I've spent a lot of time in Nebraska as well over the years. I'm not in Lincoln, but in Omaha. And so I've been the game, like you, Rock, like the game has been so good to us. Places it's taken us, the people it's like just the relationship me and you have is through basketball. So it's very, very special. Went to college for 2 years. Finished my degree actually at the University of Wyoming. So spent time in that area, in that region. Know how cold it gets this time of the year, how hard it gets to drive on the roads and all of that stuff. So yeah, man, I'm just so I've been around the world with basketball, and I'm just so thankful for the guys that I've been able to work with. Like you said, not only the guys that obviously making it to the league is always everyone's goal, but the guys that are playing overseas at a high level, the guys that have moved on and just used basketball as a vehicle to help better themselves in their family's life, like beyond basketball. And so that's kind of the whole motto for me is like, we're working towards, all my guys are working towards making it to the highest level. But I feel like along the way, the tools that we're providing you and the work ethic that we're helping you establish is going to help you succeed far beyond the basketball court, and when the ball stops bouncing into your next stages of your life as a working man in society, as a father, all of those things.
Absolutely. The thing about basketball and sports and life, no matter the highest level you get to, it doesn't matter, because the ball is going to stop for everyone, matter what. So, being an athlete, conditioning, getting your mental preparation right, building relationships, working together on a team, trying to achieve individual goals while also, of course, trying to achieve the team goals. All those things transfer right over to life and being a successful person in whatever you do moving forward. And and I know that Clint, trainers care about basketball. Clint is special in my opinion because I know Clint cares about his kids' lives, right? Like basketball is a tool, all right? And we kind of come from the same cloth, so I think that's why we get along so well, because we understand that basketball is a tool. It helps you build relationships. I think I just said
we got young Lloyd coming
he's
in
coming
here
across the street there. So it's a tool, and we use it. Clint had mentioned earlier. He said Tony. People don't know who Tony is. I believe you're talking about Tony Snell, right? We're just talking about Tony. I just wanted to clear that up. So these are all NBA guys that he's mentioned, and of course there's guys that's overseas. There's guys in college. There's even some. Look who joined us in the studio.
I'll take it for game day.
Yeah,
I'll take
game day. Pull up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have some young women that Clint has been involved with, and so on and so forth. So we have these conversations on this show all the time. I want to kind of dive right into it about the difference in college basketball and professional basketball. So I'm going to ask you a question, Clint. I want to get your opinion on this. Being that the games are so different now from the college game to the pro game, how does an individual work to become a pro and hone those individual skills that he needs to get to the next level while still being able to be successful in the college system and produce and help that team win at the same time?
Oh man, that's that's deep. I mean, that's like one of the hardest things. What's up, Junior? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Looking good, brother. Looking good. But good luck today as well. But no, man, that's one of the hardest things, and a lot of people don't address that, Rob, because everyone's like afraid to it's like the elephant in the room, afraid to talk about I always challenge my guys the NBA is your goal, that's fine, we're gonna do everything we can to get there, but along the way you got to understand you got to, like you just said, you got to fit into your college system. You're always trying to find that fine line of pushing yourself forward, pushing your game forward, but doing it within the team system. The team framework is one of the hardest things for a young basketball player. And it's something that we've seen over the years. I mean, who else better to talk about than you? You've lived it, bro. Yeah. you literally everyone talks about can give advice or whatever. You literally lived it from Syracuse to Long Beach State. Exactly what it feels like, to be fighting, to help your team win, and at the same time fighting to help your coach get the recognition that he wants and get to the tournament and all that. But at the same time, not losing sight of the fact that you're trying to get to the league.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And I think a lot of it comes down to, I always tell people, a lot of it comes down to playing for a coach that's invested in your dreams, as well as where he's trying to get the program, as well as maybe he's trying to get, I think Fred coached Tony Snell with the Bulls. I think it might've been 1 or 2 years. Yeah, he did when Thibodeau got fired as the Bulls coach. Fred came in, and so him coaching in the league, him playing in the league, it gives players like Ramel a better chance because he gets it, on a different level. There's a lot of college coaches that don't care about the NBA. They don't watch the NBA. They hate the NBA. They think the NBA is bad basketball. And so I always say those are the coaches that I stay far from. It's not personal, baby. I promise you it's not. But if you're talking about the NBA like that, me and you, we're not on the same wavelength because
right.
The best basketball in the world. Whether it's not even, it's just a different game because it's more, college is more the coach has the control, the coach, you know what I mean? And it flips in the NBA, you cross the wrong player, you cross the guy who's bringing in tickets and selling the popcorn, the coach would be out. You know what I mean? So it's hard, and it's that middle ground, man. And it's Rock Junior. You're going through it now. You're on this path that you're working towards your ultimate goal, which is playing the NBA. But right now you're trying to help your team win, and you're trying to do whatever is best for the team to win. But the good thing about being a player of your caliber and having your level of talent, what's going to help the team win the most games is you being a dynamic player and you being a force on offense and defense. So that it's a little bit different being in your shoes because you're so talented. So I mean, you gotta and your team needs you.
Different. They hit different. They hit different.
Yeah, your team needs you. Your team needs you to be. Your team needs you to be special. Your team needs you to be really, really good. Your team needs you to be productive for you guys to win at a high level at a conference and in one of the toughest conferences in the country in the Big Ten.
No doubt. Yeah, that's a really fine line, Clinton. That's a great answer. You know, I did this 20-something years ago now, you know, coming out of school. And the game has changed tremendously from the time, you know, that I played and I was trying to get to that level to what's going on now. You know, one of the biggest things, obviously, we talk about that has changed is the transfer portal has changed the game significantly. With that being said, you know, in my day when you transferred, you had to sit out for a year, which deterred a lot of people from transferring. Now you can play right away, and it changed the game to the point where the shift is going from younger, talented kids coming out of high school to build a program to actually going to recruit or bring in veteran guys that have played 3 or 4 years in college, and the age is changing and the competition is changing. Whereas you have some college guys who are really great college players, and they can help their teams win right away. And they may not even be more talented than some of the younger guys, but they get the nod to play. So that changes the perspective, the time frame, and it changes the value of young talent.
Yes.
In general.
Yeah.
You know, coaches don't care as much about young talent because they feel they can always just go and replace with the older guy and help them win. So even with a coach that has NBA experience or a coach that does love the NBA game, how important do you think it is for them to still be able to recruit, manage, and understand a young person's goals and dreams and helping them get to where they need to go while they're also molding them into what their system is? Or is it even important at all anymore for any college coach to value that in a young player or a talented player such?
I mean, there's a lot of coaches that don't. That's the hard thing. And I think, as you know, going through the process, finding the right school, finding the right situation, you know, is everything. And I believe that so much of the recruiting process, and I get myself in trouble a lot in basketball circles because I'm so transparent.
Yeah. Well, before you go on, Clint, I don't want to cut you off, but I was just telling Harrison before the show started, I said, look, Clint, I love to have Clint on because he's controversial. And unfortunately, the word controversial means now is just truth telling. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, in this day and age. And I'm very much the same. Yeah. You know, I'm just going to tell the truth and going to speak what's on my mind. And unfortunately, that translates to what you would call "quote unquote" controversial.
Which is unfortunate because I feel like that's what most people want.
They
just want your honest opinion.
I mean, Clint, you know, he speaks the truth. He speaks what's on his mind. So we're gonna take that word controversial and just leave it to the public. But for us, we want truth tellers, and that's why I'm happy to have you. Continue. I just had to put that.
No, that's it. That's it. Like I think a lot of it starts with, like, I always say, like, in recruiting, like, I'm always gonna tell a coach, like, exactly, just like a coach is gonna tell you, like, lay it out for you, his plan, like where he sees you, where his program is, all those things. Like, people think, they forget, like, you got to be totally transparent, like at the front. If your goal is to get to the league and you never ever tell a coach that during the recruiting process, and you just talk about, oh, I just want the college experience, I'm just there to be a college student, and then you get there and then you're like, the coach is like treating you like that, like, oh, you just want to be a student and enjoy your time here, you're not really trying to push yourself to be an NBA player in 2 to 3 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't ever have those conversations, then when you get to campus and that comes up and the coach is like, oh, you never talked about this in recruiting, I didn't know you were that type of kid, like, I didn't know those were your goals, then everyone's thrown off. So I'm more like, the more transparent you are at the front door, then you already know, once I get in the house, you already know what time it is. So, like, my reactions to things that I may not like, or certain things that don't look like how I envision them looking when you recruited me or my kid or whatever, like, then there's not going to be no misunderstanding. Like why because it's like, okay, we talked about these things. And I think that's so much of recruiting is just transparency at the front door. And everybody, you're not always going to see things eye to eye. We're not always going to be on the same page, but we got to be able to have an honest conversation. This isn't like, oh, you could say whatever you want, but I got to shut up and say nothing. No, that's not how this goes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear mumbling coming from Junior over here.
I didn't mumble a thing.
Yeah, I think he want to say something, but he don't want to say something, so I'll leave him alone. But
no, I mean, he's a young college student. He's you know, like Ramel, like Junior, I know exactly like the position you're in because I've had talented kids. I mean, Kuz redshirted his freshman year of college. You know, people don't know Kuz spent before he enrolled at University of Utah, he spent, I think it was 4 weeks or so, 4 to 6 weeks at West Nebraska Junior College before he was allowed to enroll his freshman year at Utah, where he was an academic redshirt. You know, like, so he had to.
I didn't even know that.
Knowledge. See stuff we don't even know. That's why
he was an academic redshirt.
I mean, that's the biggest thing with a lot of those guys is you don't know the full story.
You don't know the journey.
People always see the end result.
Yeah.
But little things like that, like unless you in the camp or in the circle like you were, you would never know that. You just see Kuz. Yeah, you see Kuz and just see the big contract and what he's doing now, but you didn't see the grind going through the whole thing. So I feel like you guys were saying, it's a process, and you just gotta be transparent with everything you're doing and be on the same page to get to the ultimate goal.
Yeah, we have to go to break here, but Clint, I want you to go ahead. I'll let you wrap up your point there because I think we're all kind of clicking with what you're saying here.
No, I think it's just, I mean, just that's why I was so excited to come on here today because there's so many parallels between Ramel and Kuz's journey and Jalen McDaniels' journey, who redshirted his freshman year at San Diego State. And now he's in year 5 in the NBA. And so many people look at it as a thing now where it's like, if you don't play your freshman year, if you're not 1 and done, you're not 2 and done, then you're not gonna last in the league. Like Kuz is a 4-year. He was in college for 4 years. He played 3 years because of the red shirt. Jalen was in college for 3 years. These guys are on year 7 and year 5. So it's allowing kids to take their journey. And there's so much pressure in the basketball world, as you guys know, as the Lloyds know, especially here in California, to where if it doesn't happen overnight, people just will write you off. And it's like, well, there's a lot of kids who had it happen overnight, and now they're no longer playing too. So, you know, it's okay. It's okay for it to take a little bit of time. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. Again, yeah, I always kind of put the model of everyone starts at a different spot on their starting blocks, so like a track field. Everyone's going to be at a different spot, and just kind of determines, how much work you want to put forward. But nonetheless, we got to go ahead and throw it to our first break here. We got Clint Parks, the guest today, streaming in, as well as the host, Rock Lloyd Sr. and Mel Lloyd Jr., both in studio. We'll throw it to break here and talk to you guys on the other side.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club, or space club, and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? No, forget that. How about a margarita club? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge and join the best club in town. 10 flavors of margaritas like Maui Wowie, burnt pineapple, and mango tango. Try all 10 of them and receive your own souvenir margarita glass. Make it your new Monday night tradition. $4 margaritas and $4 taco baskets. Grab the crew and head on over. Monday nights or any night. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Get all of your favorite restaurants delivered with VenueDelivered.com. One place for ordering delicious appetizers, refreshing salads, hot entrees, fresh sandwiches, and more. From Venue Restaurant and Lounge, Piedmont Bistro, and all Lincoln Good Sense Subs locations. Download our phone app to earn rewards on all of your carryout and delivery orders. Available on Apple and Android, just search for the Pillar Restaurants app. That's the Pillar Restaurants app. Download today.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planting season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education award while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lloyds in Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
All right, welcome back to Lloyds in Lincoln. I'm Harrison Arns running the ones and twos. We got the host, Ramel Lloyd Sr., Ramel Lloyd Jr., both in studio, as well as Clint Clark. Excuse me, there's a little bit of echo there. Let me get that situated. All right, there we go. Now we're all set here. Clint Park, guest today, joining us as always. And again, we're going to go through this. We got a couple more segments left. Maybe want to talk about some of the players we've trained or more about the recruitment process, but I'll go ahead and throw it to you, the host, Ramel Lloyd Sr. Where do you want to go with this one?
This is a thing. I've decided right now, and we're gonna with Clint's blessings, that he's gonna have to just come back on the show because we got too much stuff to talk about. We only got an hour, and these are important. This is important information that people really, really need to hear.
Yeah, the recruitment piece that we talked about in the first segment too. I thought that was huge. Like if you're not saying the MBA is my end goal, you might have some confusing conversations with that same program later down the road.
Oh, yeah. And we just talked about just off air that, sometimes those conversations are had. And oftentimes they're not, that deal is not held up or things change or whatever the case may be once you do get on campus. There is a part of recruiting to get kids on campus. And some coaches will recruit and say what they need to say to get you there. And sometimes that narrative changes for whatever the reason may be, and then people are stuck, which is actually the positive part about the portal, because now you can go on and look for, coaches and programs that align with your goals and your style of play.
Yeah, I mean, if the coach that recruited you gets fired, it's like a situation where you should look for your best interest. It might still be that school,
right?
But to have the opportunity. Before we kind of get to Quinn here, I want to ask, what was kind of that conversation for you guys when you decided on Nebraska, and then we kind of translate it into this next question here.
You want to answer that? Or
what was the question?
The question was about talking to, being transparent pretty much with the coach before deciding to go to the school.
You got it.
I'll answer it, no problem. Like I said earlier, I'm extremely transparent, right? And I'm going to tell, say what it is, and the transparency goes both ways, because you gotta be prepared to hear an answer that maybe you don't want to hear, and you got to be fine with that, right? It's okay for the coach to disagree with you or whatever, and you move on to the next thing. I know in some of the recruiting world and stuff that I was called, oh, you might not want to deal with him, the dad, this and that. But it's just like the same thing I was talking about Clint. Like, I'm not controversial or overbearing father. I'm just telling the damn truth. So you get a reputation like you're not supposed to be involved in the recruiting process. Like, I raised this kid from 0 to 18 to get to this point. Now you telling me like I'm not going to be involved in this? This is one of the biggest decisions in my kid's life, and we've been through this journey together. So I'm going to have an opinion. We shared opinions. We talk about what we need to talk about. He gives me the goals, and we work together as a team to try to achieve those things. So my transparency is always there. Even today, like, we're at the school and I'm still going to be transparent. I'm not going to say I'm sitting here at every practice. I don't even think I've been to a practice, but I'm here, I'm involved. Of course, the parents should be involved. Why wouldn't we?
Absolutely. And I want to ask you, Clint Parks, you kind of mentioned the transparency, but what are some of the other things that you're telling some of the guys you train when they're kind of getting to that level, things to keep in mind when they're going through that recruiting process?
I mean, just I'm big on track record. I'm big on style of play. I'm big on coaches that have had success with players similar to the kid that he's recruiting that's with me at that time. And I think those are the biggest things, like obviously style of play, like how does the coach play in a way that helps develop players for the highest level, whether that be the NBA or the highest level overseas, EuroLeague, like all of that factors into it. And I just watch so much basketball, like I watch basketball nonstop. That's literally my life. And I'm I'm a basketball guy, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's overseas, I'm watching youth games, trying, what I mean? Like it's when you're in the basketball world, as the Lloyds know, it's really like it's an everyday thing. Like it's never like, oh, you just shut it off for a week or two. Like even if you're resting, you're still watching, you're still studying, you're training, your recovery, you're lifting, so I'm just like, I'm around the clock with this deal. And I have a pretty good pulse on all the colleges across the country and what coaches are looking for and what type of players fit in certain, because you also got to know, like Ramel grew up in Southern California, obviously, but he got an East Coast feel to his game. All coaches can go to the Midwest or the East Coast and go, and their game will translate. So you also got to factor that in too. Like, what style of player are you? I always said Ramel, if you would have played on the East Coast, your game would have been much more appreciated than it was by West Coast, which is like a lot of times people get caught up in aesthetics. How does it look? It doesn't even have to be productive half the time for some of these guys.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's just the way of basketball going in general.
You have a cool 8 points as long as it look good. They messing with you. You can have 8. If it was a crazy 8, they messing with you.
No,
we're not even going to talk about the political part of it too.
That's the same thing Kawhi dealt with all these years. You know what I mean? Like his game is not smooth. Like if you watch him, he's not like, he doesn't glide around the court. He's somebody you could watch and be like, okay, yeah, he spent a lot of time honing his craft in the gym. It's not like you're not watching him and saying, oh my gosh, it's just effortless. Like it doesn't even look like he's trying, like he got out of bed and he just gonna give you 30. Right. He's not giving you that type of 30. He giving you gonna feel all 30. It's gonna be a hard hat 30. Jumpers in there. It's gonna be some post. It's gonna be some It's gonna be some loose balls on the ground. He's gonna get the 50-50 ball. You know what I mean? So it's not like, and you got to know, like, everybody's game isn't for everybody. You know, what we may like, what you know what I'm saying, may not be what the next person likes in a certain part of the country.
Yeah.
What was that kind of like, dealing or coaching Kawhi at that young age, helping him kind of train in the basketball world? You know, obviously, I'd imagine some of the measurables, his hand size was probably already pretty outrageous at a young age. But what were some of the things he's kind of talked about? Not a super flashy player, but early on, what were you seeing for him? And could you already see the ceiling of what he could be?
You know, no one thought he had a high ceiling. That's the thing, because of all the things I just mentioned. You know, all the players that were supposed to be better, whether it be the Ware twins who played at Carolina and UCLA, whether it was Derek Williams who played at Arizona, you know what I mean? Like I could go on and on and on down the list.
These are all Cali guys too, right, Clint?
Yeah, these are all guys that were McDonald's All-Americans. Like Kawhi it was amazing coaching him and working with him because he played so hard. But everybody was like, okay, 6'6.5", 7'2" wingspan, but he's like an undersized power forward. It's not going to translate to college. It's his game. He's not tall enough. He's not smooth enough. He's not fluid enough. So it was never like, oh, like what I thought of him was the minority. Like everybody else was like, oh no, he's not no NBA player like that. That's why for me, it's like, you know, you really got to be careful like who you listen to in this basketball world, because you will have people talk you out of your dreams or whatever you want to get to before you even get started, just because they view the NBA a certain way or how hard it is to get there, which it is hard, or all those things. But it's like everyone that's talking basketball doesn't really know basketball.
Most. Let's go with most on that.
That's the biggest thing is like he was never, so to see him be NBA top 75, one of the best players in the world, it wasn't like that was never the public's opinion of him ever. That was like my opinion of him reaching that goal and being one of the best players in the world and working towards that and continuing to get better and better, which he's done over the years. But, you know, when you're on this journey, as Junior knows now, you just got to be like immune to the outside noise. You know, like you got to just be able to shut it all off and know like, okay, I know what I'm capable of. I know the work that I put in. I know what I sacrificed for this game. Like, I don't care what everybody else thinks. Like, I'm going to do what I got to do to get to where I got to get to, you know? And that's why I'm on here today, because I know, like, just, I know what you've been through, Mel. Like, I know how productive you were in high school. I know how much you were overlooked. I know when it was time for y'all to go on the road, like your last year, like what you were bringing to the table for your team. You were going to get MVP in the biggest high school tournament in the country, and people still trying to act like they didn't see it.
They for sure try to do that. Oh man, we could go on and on with that. CP.
You know, so,
like, you know, if I'm bringing it up, I'm just dad hating. So
no, like I've been in those shoes. I've been in those shoes. You know what I mean? I know what it feels like to be like in the foxhole with someone like Kawhi or like Kuz, and everyone like saying like, "Oh, this guy's better, that guy's better," and it's like everyone has an opinion, but what are you basing it off of?
Right.
Are you basing it off of like when we play against each other, or like the numbers that like the production? Or are you basing it off of, oh, you're closer with his coach, right, or his coach is your boy?
Yeah. What's your affiliation?
So then I'm never gonna be. I'm always gonna lose that battle because I'm walking in the gym and I'm dolo.
Yep.
I'm going sitting in the corner. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm giving that vibe like I don't want to be talked to. I know, like I'm not going to go play your little corny games. You know, like I'm about the game, I'm about the production, all of that. And so when you're about that, sometimes you don't always get the respect you deserve, and it's hard.
Yeah. Clint, going back to Kuz, you know, I know you're a West Coast guy, obviously, and you kind of were around Kawhi and things like that, like just where you lived regionally. But I know Kuz is from Michigan, Detroit, I believe, or Detroit. Yeah. How did you and Kuz even get connected, with you being a Cali guy and him being all the way in Michigan?
I'm so glad you asked that. People ask me all the time, and then I tell them how. They're like, "Oh my gosh!" So you know, like I'm always on. I tweet a lot. Well, the app is called X now, obviously. So like I've always used that app to promote my brand, promote my guys, help them get recognition. And so Kuz actually reached out to me. in the middle of his red shirt, I think it was the beginning of his red shirt freshman year at Utah. And he had reached out and he had direct messaged me and told me, it went along the lines of like, I've seen the work you've done with Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Kuzma, and I think I could be similar to those guys. And I would love for the opportunity to work with you, and I'd love for you to work with me and kind of help me. Like, he basically put it out there, like, my goal is to get to the league. I've seen you've had success with guys that I think that are similar to me, and I would love to have the opportunity to work with you and us to work together. That's kind of where I was just like, oh, dang. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a kid like this, he's redshirting, and that was how I got. And then I was going to Wyoming at the time, and so when I was driving from California to the University of Wyoming, it was actually the summer before his redshirt year. Actually, he was just getting there on campus, and after he left West Nebraska. And when I went out there to school, I stopped and I stayed with him and like for a little bit, and we got in the gym, and that was kind of where it kind of took off and started at. But it all came from Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, and a kid just reaching out and saying, you know what, like most times he was just like shot his shot, like, man, who cares? He was just trying to do whatever he could to help get to his goals. And at that time, redshirting, coming from JUCO, you can imagine if he was telling people that out loud, like, I'm trying to get to the league. And I think
right.
Similar to Kawhi and to Tony, people probably would have been like, yeah, right.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
That's crazy.
We actually have to go ahead and go to our next break. Damn, we could go for 2 hours.
That's what I said. Clint got it. CP, you got to come back on because we didn't even get to the McDaniel brothers, and I really want to get there because I've been around them as well a little bit with you, and I wanted you to kind of go over that relationship, especially with Jalen, I believe, just signing that huge deal, and he's one of the most promising young guys in the league right now. So let's get the break. I don't know if we're going to be able to touch it when you come back. We probably have 5 minutes left or so.
Yeah, we'll have 5 minutes left. And real quick, Clint, I don't know what your schedule. Are you still like if people want to reach out and find a way to work with you, is Twitter the best way, or is your schedule pretty booked?
No, I'm always available. I still got the plug. Mel, I still got the plug on the gym in the Valley. Just change that.
Well, we're trying to the goal is to get Clint to come out to Lincoln for some time and spend some time here. I get jealous when I see him on the road at some of the other gyms with some of his other young guys. I wish he was over here. So we're going to work on that. But let's get the break.
Absolutely.
And we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll go to break here. Lloyds in Lincoln, Harrison Romello, it's in your Clint Parks. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
Chances are you're a busy person. Chances are you'd rather not drive down to Beatrice for your favorite desserts. Chances are you'd really benefit from a Lincoln location for all of your fruitcake, liqueur cake, and breakfast bread needs. Insert Beatrice Bakery in downtown Lincoln, 1040 O Street, the new 93.7 The Ticket Studios. Just grab a cake out of the cooler, pay at the counter, and you're headed home with the delicious, fruity, nutty, decadent treat of your choice. Beatrice Bakery, online at beatricebakery.com or now in downtown Lincoln at 1040 O Street. Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
this is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Yes, the rest of the roster has to elevate the quarterback, but the quarterback also has to elevate the rest of the roster. Haven't seen from Heinrich Harburg yet. I'm willing to give him the rest of the year. I'm willing to say that he can be the guy next year, but then you have to have realistic expectations in mind for Nebraska, and to me, that's 6 or 7 wins.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seeding Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lloyds in Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
All right, welcome back in to Lloyds in Lincoln. I'm Harrison Arns running the 1s and 2s. We got the host, Ramel Lloyd Sr., Ramel Lloyd Jr., both in studio, and guest Clint Parks joining us through the stream. I'll go ahead and throw it to you guys. This will be a short one. We've only got about 5 minutes left here.
Yeah, 5 minutes left. We don't have enough time to really go into some of the other players. I just really want the audience to get a feel for the amount of work, effort, the determination, all the things that go into training and becoming a high level player. And we're not even talking about NBA yet. We're just talking about becoming a high level basketball player, the amount of time, the amount of hours. And Clint, like I said earlier, he does a great job because I don't think you can just be a basketball trainer to get kids to that next level. You have to be involved in almost every aspect of their life as a mentor, as a family member, as an advisor, because a lot of these times that, like he mentioned earlier, a kid was it coming from Western
Kyle Kuzma coming from Western Nebraska.
And then goes to red shirt. Like, people don't know that part of the journey. So if you're a trainer, guess what? You're there during all that time. All that time when your kid or your athlete is feeling undervalued or feeling like they can't get through or feeling like they can't make it. You as the trainer, it's your job to help them mentally and physically get up every day and continue to push forward with those dreams. So, Clint, I just wanted you to explain a little bit about how much goes into training and being part of a young athlete's life in order to get them to that next level.
That's what you just said, bro.
Yeah.
It's not just being there. It's not just being there for the good times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not just being there for the good times. It's like that's when everybody wants to be there.
Yeah.
It's the day to day. It's the when you're not playing. It's the when you're redshirting, like what you went through last year, Mel, and your mental is being tested. Some days you're seeing the bigger picture, and some days you're asking yourself, like, is this really going to work out? Is this really the way? Like, did I make the right decision? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. Like, now that you got game day today and you like, okay, yeah, now it's like they're going to feel this weight I put on me over the off season. They're going to feel all this work. They're going to feel everything that I had to go through last year. They're going to feel me today. Like, they're going to feel me this season.
Man, not to cut you off, but with all that being said, I can't even play today. Like, see, first day of practice, after all that, first day of practice, I come back and accident happened. Get hit in my knee, and now I'm not even available to play today. So that just goes back to it's a marathon, it's a journey. Like I went through all that, and then as soon as we get back to practice for official practice, I get hurt. So you just gotta keep grinding.
You gotta keep going. See, that's the things that people don't see, and they just see like, oh, game day or everything that just like rocks, like you said, like everything that goes into this thing on a day-to-day basis, whether it be academically, socially, athletically, like you're still a person, you know what I mean? Like basketball is a piece of you, you know what I mean? But it's not the whole pie, you know what I mean? But sometimes I think people are guilty, even us as fans, when we watch our favorite professional athletes, we forget, like, man, like they go through stuff at home. Just because you got these huge contracts doesn't mean you're just exempt from everything else that comes with life.
Yeah, that's my problem. I don't ever think that way. I always keep those things in mind, especially here. We talk a lot about our football team and the basketball players, and we talk about the fan base. And like, I'm always standing up for the athletes, because casual fans, to me, at times, they have zero clue of what it takes to be an elite athlete at this level. Zero. And they have zero clue, and also they are super opinionated on what these young men and women should be doing, how they should be doing, and what they should be doing.
Oh
so we try to enlighten people and give them this information, coming from people that's been in the grind with these kids, to get them to understand that these are young people, they're young men and women. And they have all of these things that they have to deal with to get through it. Just like we just talked about Romel's situation. He comes in here, he's redshirt for a year. Half the people feel like, oh, he shouldn't have redshirt. He should have redshirt. They don't know why, what the reason is. Now he worked his butt off all year to be ready to have a stellar year this year. And first day of practice, we go through an injury, right? So now it's going to postpone playing again. Do you understand what that does to your mentals when you're trying to get to a certain level? Or you're trying to even just play? He hadn't played a college game yet.
Not a single game.
He hasn't played a college game yet, right? And you got and not to mention the expectations that these young people put on themselves. Forget about what people think they should be, what they think they should be, and what they know they're capable of, and then to have these obstacles come across. So only the strong survive, man. And like Clinton always says, if you follow him, you guys need to go follow him. He's a great follow. You'll get more of this truth constantly coming. It's a marathon. That's what one of the favorite words is, a marathon. And also Kawhi Leonard is his GOAT.
Absolutely. That, right? We got to get out of here and start breaking it down. But Clinton Parks, what is the best way if people want to reach out to you, get in touch? Go ahead and plug your social media.
Let me look my.
Yeah. No worries there.
Let me see. Be more prepared.
No, all good there.
Clint Parks 05 is my name on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and you can follow me on there. You could constantly see me talking about my favorite teams, the Clippers, and
we Lakers. We Lakers over here, but
yeah, okay.
That's for another show.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on today. I miss you guys out here. I'm always following. I'm always supporting. Take care of yourself, bro. Keep working. Keep believing, and you're gonna do great things. I'll leave you. I was talking yesterday. I seen Wes.
You got 20 seconds, real quick.
I seen Wes and Nick yesterday at a local event. We were talking about, obviously that's our relationship with you guys.
Yep.
So we're all excited to see you this year get on the court and do what you're capable of doing. So
yes, sir.
Absolutely. This has been Lloyds in Lincoln, and we'll have to get Clint Parks back on sometime. But appreciate the time.
All right, much love.
kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price.